All right, I've just aired down again, and headed out to check out some geological features and find some place to camp for tonight. Previous episode, I met up with George from Southwest Idaho Overlanding, Casey of Coyote Works, and a few other people to camp down inside of a river canyon, and we had a little bit of an interesting river crossing situation. So if you haven't watched that episode, that was last week's episode, don't miss it. Once again, I'm out in some vast, open, middle of nowhere desert. Just nothing as far as you can see. Well, this is the road to one of my destinations out here, and it's only maybe 3 or 4 miles, but there I was going at most 1 mile an hour. That's gonna make for a long drive. I'm not sure I've got that in me. That bit was just on a hill, which is always worse, where the dirt erodes away. I'll push a little further up and see what it looks like. Alright, it got better quickly because it got flat. I think any place that there's going to be any sort of uphill or downhill, the rocks are probably going to be exposed. We'll see how it goes here. When you travel across rangelands like this and you have to let yourself through a gate, make sure you always leave the gate the way you found it. If it was open, leave it open. If it was closed, let yourself through, close it afterwards. If people don't take care of stuff like that, then the BLM will probably start closing down areas like this for recreational use. I'm mostly not bothering to film this drive on this little desert road. It's just the rocks aren't huge, but there's enough of them that you just have to slow down to 1 mile an hour or less and crawl over them. It's nothing I can't get past, but it's just slow. You just can't go any faster. A lot of them are sharp and pokey, and I don't want to get any sort of up and down movement because then the car comes down onto a rock that I otherwise would have cleared. And if I film it, it's not going to do it justice, and it's gonna look like nothing. So trust me, it's not that it's like hard off-roading. Anyone with, you could probably even do it in two-wheel drive as long as you had a reasonable amount of clearance and some tough tires. But it's just slow and fatiguing. But I'm, looks like 2/3 of the way, and I caught some encouraging glimpses of that canyon, and I even got a vein of cell service there, so I'm glad I came out here. All right, well, here's why I came out all this way. Look at this. This is just crazy. Are you kidding me? Look at this vista. Look at that crazy terrain. I had no idea there was anything quite like this in Oregon. I just spotted this area in satellite pictures. It looked like it might be interesting. I saw some deep shadows from what looked like some tall rocks, and wow, it's even better than I expected. There seemed to be a couple of abandoned structures down there and an abandoned car. I was originally thinking to drive down in there, drive that road down in there, and possibly camp down in there tonight. But this road is really steep, and the steep part down there, I can't quite see it, but I bet it's really rocky. So I don't know, I might just walk down and scout it out a little bit. That last bit right there is a pretty steep climb, and it's pretty loose. It's probably doable. This part down here is steep, and all the dirt is eroded away, and there's just lots of big rocks exposed. Okay, yeah, this road is a definite no. You probably can't tell, that's a steep climb up in this direction. And it's the kind of stuff that I probably need a little bit of momentum on, but there's some really big rocks. I'm likely to be bouncing up and down. This is a bad idea. Well, I was right. Really cool spot. I'm really bummed I can't get down in there. I seriously considered just hiking on down in, just to check out those structures and see what the view was like. But it is so hot in the sun, and I don't know what elevation I'm at here. I don't have enough satellite signal apparently for Gaia to figure it out. But just the little bit that I hiked down and hiked back up, I was out of breath. So it makes me think that I'm at a reasonably high elevation. It doesn't take much elevation to have an impact on me because I live almost at sea level. So if it was cooler, it wasn't so hot, I probably would go for it. But between the heat and the elevation, I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm gonna have to do that at another time. I'd love to drive down in there, plus the road goes a little further, and it looks so right up my alley. But that's okay. I know it's there, and my scouting was correct, and I'll come back out here with someone who's got a Jeep and a winch, so that if I have any trouble getting back up, I can get some help. So funny, on most of my excursions, like in the Cascades, I do everything I can to get off of the big groomed gravel roads and onto the small primitive trails. But boy, I tell you, on this trip, I am so happy when I hit these smooth gravel roads and get off of those rocky, gnarly little things. Oh, it's such a relief to be going more than 5 miles an hour. I've reached my next destination, a massive lava flow, which is some of the freshest lava in the state, dating to a little over 3,000 years ago, which is nothing in geological time, and there is even an area believed to be only around 100 years old. This flow is so recent that virtually nothing has yet managed to take root here. This is a difficult area to explore on a hot summer afternoon, and I didn't make it very far. The black lava absorbs and radiates heat, and the temperature walking along the surface of the flow can reach 120 degrees. This lava field spilled from what is known as Coffee Pot Crater. Ooh, that's a big hole. The flow spreads out across the desert floor as far as the eye can see, and a series of spatter cone vents can be seen up here at the northwest corner of the lava field. I want to explore a little more of this lava field and maybe find some place to camp for tonight. I've heard the road may be a little much for my little Forester, but when has that ever stopped me? Ooh, what is that? That is a lot of piling of stones. It seems to have been a corral at one point. These aren't small rocks. These are big rocks. I can't even imagine building this wall. Oh, check this one out. You can see the fireplace and the chimney and everything. Well, this road looked fun. Looked like it had some interesting potential. But it is really, really big rocks. They just have to crawl carefully over each one of them. Well, I suspect that road probably would have gotten better once I got past that little hill. There was probably runoff that had eroded the road, and so the rocks were exposed. But I don't know, and it was getting to the point where it was going to be difficult to back up or turn around. And I have to be a number of miles away fairly early tomorrow to meet up with my cousin. I want to get myself so deep fact that it takes 2 hours just to get out to the gravel road. So I'm gonna let that go. I have to admit there, bigger rig, bigger tires, could have just kept on going right there. So the Subaru gets me almost every place I want to go, but not absolutely every place. I saw a road going up into the hills there. It looked like maybe it might go up to a cool campsite with a view. Well, this is pretty nice up here. I've got a view of the lava flow down there. And also another pretty nice view off that way. Well, I imagine it's going to be a little windy up here at the top of this hill, but it's a nice sight. It's like almost 7 o'clock. It's been a long day. I was trying to get my car across that river this morning, and then a lot of miles and driving in between. I think I'm going to call it good. I'll deal with a little bit of wind. I suspect it'll die down as it gets darker. Well, I've situated the car so that it's blocking the wind, blocking a lot of the wind from the tent. I do think the wind will probably die down, but the car gives us a little extra wind block. Sometimes you think you're alone, but you're not alone. Dun dun dun. Hey, what are you looking at? It's public land. I can be here too. Well, I'm just sitting and enjoying the sunset and enjoying the view and watching the cows graze. It's like 9:15. I had no idea it was that late. It's such a confusing time of year. I gotta get some dinner going here. Again, I'm not doing anything fancy, and I didn't plan any meals. Just I got some groceries and improvising as I go. I have some ground beef, and I've got an onion, so I'm gonna saute up some onion, and I meant to bring like some tomato sauce or tomato paste or something, but I forgot to get some. So I think I'm gonna do a little sort of reduction with balsamic vinegar with the onions, and then I'm gonna throw in the meat, and I've got some of these. It's pasta, but it's made out of lentils, so it's really easy to digest. There's no wheat or anything like that in it, and they have an interesting flavor on top of that. They bring their own flavor to the dish. I'm just going to mix that all together and eat it. As I'm sitting here looking at this scene, I feel like what is so hard to capture in these videos is just the, I don't know, the scent of the outdoors, the sense or the knowledge that there's just nobody, there's nobody anywhere near you. Just completely alone out here. Well, okay. The cow reminded me that I'm not completely alone. Got an earlier start than I intended this morning. Well, it started at 4 in the morning with the coyotes howling and yipping up a storm. This is what it sounded like. Immediately afterwards, the cattle started mooing, and they're in all directions. They're over there. They're down there. They're on the hill over there. Moo, moo, moo. Plus, whatever this thing is. And of course there's the birds. And the birds, that's a pleasant sound. It's really nice. But it's a sound that your brain associates with dawn and waking up, and it's time to get up and capture footage of the dawn. So it starts that morning thing. And none of that is unpleasant. I mean, that's what you're out here for. Part of it is to hear all the noises of nature. The problem with middle of June, though, is that it starts at 4 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, I gave up at about 4:30. I finally just got up. Ultimately, it ended up being a bit of a blessing. It gave me a little extra time to take care of some business, like I needed to wash some socks and shave some stubble. I'm on my way to meet up with my cousin who lives in Nampa, Idaho, just across the Oregon border. And we're going to do some exploring and camp tonight. But that's the end of this episode. So stay tuned for the next one because there's still more Eastern Oregon to come. Thank you for watching. You didn't get run over sitting there in the middle of the road there, buddy.